Hey guys, welcome back to After the Island. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Alex.
And we have Taylor and Jonah with us today.
Hi guys, how you guys doing?
Hi.
We're good. Welcome.
How are you guys feeling after leaving the villa?
Go ahead, Taylor.
Good. It's good to be back for sure.
When did you guys get back?
Ooh, what day did we get back? I think we got back like 4 days ago. I don't know date-wise.
I don't even. Yeah, I literally don't even know how long it's been, to be honest.
You're like, what time is it?
I'm like, what day is it? What time is it? I'm still in villa time.
I know the adjustment is crazy, but so exciting to see you guys come back. Honestly, I was a bit surprised to see you guys go. I thought you guys were going to be in maybe the finals or whatnot. I was shook, but I want to start off by asking you guys how you both ended up on the show.
Johnny, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
You want me to go? You go.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
They reached out to me through Instagram. And at first I was like, is this like real? And it seemed like a scam almost. And I was like,
I'm going to put together a clip of every Islander saying that. Every single person has said it.
Yeah. And so she reached out. It was super, she was nice. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll apply. I didn't think I was actually going to get on. And here we are.
Same. I was reached out to over DM. Same thing. Thought it was a fake. Like they liked all my photos, and then I was like, got this, request for a DM, and I normally would never even open them. And then I went and I opened it, and then it was like, oh, are you single? Do you want to do Love Island? And I was like, no fucking way, this is real. Like this is fake. But we just got talking, did the Zoom, and then I was like, fuck, all right, here we go. I was like, sure, let's ride.
No way. And then when did you guys figure out what placement you were going to come into the show at? When did you find out? Jonah, you were a bombshell, I believe, and then Taylor, you were a
I was a bombshell, but I didn't know at any point when I was going in until it was the day of photo shoot. And then we did the slow B-roll, and then it was like photo shoot and boat. And I was like, well, this seems promising. So yeah, photo shoot and boat, and then it was time to get it on. But I had no idea that where or when, if at all, that I was ever going to get on.
Yeah, same. I had no idea until 2 or 3 days before. And then it was the same thing. It was right into the photo shoot, the interview, and then we were just in.
Fun.
Taylor, did you watch Love Island before? Did you know what Casa Amor was?
So I had really only watched some of the UK seasons, and I had never even really watched a full season all the way through. It was more in college, with roommates, and we were just, it was just on in the house or whatever. So I knew what it was. But I remember literally sitting there and I was like, I should have fucking watched a Casa something, because I knew what it was, but I was I didn't really know how it worked. I didn't know really what I fully was getting myself into. So it's crazy.
Well, I want to know how does it feel? I always ask the girls going in, how does it feel going in? Because it's such a weird situation with a lot of pressure and not a lot of time.
Yeah, it was weird. It was for sure. It was we knew that there were so many strong connections in the villa too already at that point. But I remember we were all just sitting out there, kind of shitting our pants, to be honest. We were just what are we about to walk into? All these people are in there, have been doing. What's so funny?
Nothing. You said shitting your pants and I was thinking of Bullet Butt.
Oh my God.
No.
Oh, no.
No, that hadn't come yet. But yeah, no, we
did you get it too?
I feel like everyone got it at some point.
Yeah, we all
did. It was gnarly.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it was weird because, especially for me, it's so unnatural to be stepping on toes and being oh, I know you have a girl, but fuck her. That's not how it is in life. So it was weird to, go in there and not know who you were going to connect with and not know if they were going to have a connection with somebody else. You know what I mean? It was just weird.
Yeah. So who were your top three?
Top three. He's here we go.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
This is what I'm talking about, baby.
He's like, we should have done this in day one. My top 3, Jonah was on my top 3. Harrison and Leo. Those are my top 3.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like every single Casa girl was like, Leo was at least on there somewhere. I meant Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison was beautiful. Leo was just like on it because from when I first watched like the first episode, I kind of was like thinking to myself, like there wasn't really anybody in that group that I was like super attracted to or was like super into. And Leo was just like the only one that was like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like that. So
yeah. And before we ask you guys about like your connection and where that started, I kind of want to rewind to Jonah, the beginning of your experience. You come in as a bombshell. Who did you originally have like your like sights set on, and then who were you kind of like connecting with at that point?
Yeah, so when I came in, I was like, I gotta have a game plan, and my game plan was to steal Hannah. That was going to be my game plan. What? I was like, well, because we come in, the first challenge we have is kiss the islander you want to be with. And without hesitation, I was like, Hannah, come here. Like, and then I kissed Hannah. But then she was which I understood to a certain point, was like the respectful, like, oh, but I'm still Marco. Like, here's a sweet kiss. And then I was like, all right, like, ego hit. And I was like, cool. I realized that they were on a separate wavelength as to what I thought Love Island was going to be, because like all the Love Islands I had seen coming up to that point was like, yeah, sure, someone's in a couple, but like you understand challenges and you understand that challenges are going to go hard and you test your connection. And I didn't understand, so then I was kind of blindsided by like a peck. I was like, oh shit, all right, like I was going to go in 100 and I had to bring it down to like 2. So that part kind of threw me off a little bit, but then it just turned into, cool, I'm going to go through the whole field, because quickly realizing that everyone in there is physically attractive. You can't like just be like off looks and just be like, oh, sweet, because I feel like that would be exposed very quickly. So then I just went off personalities, and I was just like, screw this, like personalities, let me get to know everyone and just kind of like restart. And I didn't have much time to do that. And then, I obviously ended up choosing Destiny for that first recoupling.
So walk us through you and Destiny.
Destiny's great. Okay. I got nothing terrible to say about Destiny. How she went about things and how I went about things in the villa were just different. We didn't line up. I felt that every conversation I was having with her, I was, hey, we're open. And she was giving that back. Yeah, I'm open. And it ended up being one of the reasons why I actually picked to recouple with her, because I had a conversation previous with Anna, and Anna was going to give me 100%. And I was like, that's fantastic. But I knew what she had been through previous with Leo. And I was like, I almost was in a sense, like kind of quote unquote looking out for her. I was like, look, you're going to give me 100. I can only give you 30. Like, because I'm still going to be open. I still want to get to know everyone. I was like, I don't want that to, in my mind, I was like, I don't want that to devalue your self-worth, because to make you feel like you're not good enough or anything like that. Versus Destiny was like, I asked her, I was like, hey, if I had coupled up with you, like, how would you feel? And she was like, that's great, but I'm still open. And I was like, I like that, because me too.
I like that plan.
I like that plan. That's a good plan. I like this. And because I could still get to know her. And I told Anna that even if I didn't choose to couple up with her, that I still wanted to get to know her. It was just, I'd only known everyone for what felt like 5 minutes. And then I had to pick, because I had to pick that next night. And then there's not that much time in a day for conversations, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So I never even had a chat with Destiny until I had a chance to pull 2 people for a date. And I was like, well, I haven't chatted with Destiny, and each chat is essentially a small, quick speed date. And I was like, so why not just pull Destiny for the date, and then that'll solve 2 birds, 1 stone. And so I did that, and then we kind of got on the same page. I see that we vibed a little bit, and I was like, great. And then coupled up with her, Anna dipped out, and I was like, oh, did not see that one coming, like, at all.
Wait, who was your other date?
My other date was with Hannah.
I forgot. You had a massive journey in there.
Yeah, I know.
That's what part that was interesting, was the date I had with Hannah was fantastic. And she didn't lead it one way or another. It was, you're stirring the pot. You've caught my eye. She told me I reminded her of her father. And I was like, well, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. And she was like, no, you remind me of, I was like, no, she's like, and it's in a good way. My dad used to cowboy for a bunch of outfits and everything like that. And I was like, all right, sweet. Like, if it's a good thing, it's a good thing. I'll run with it. I'm not gonna like make you second guess yourself or anything. And then the second date that was right after, boom, boom, because Hannah had to go get Destiny. And then after the date with Destiny, Hannah pulls me and she's like, hey, you're great. Connection's great. But I feel better with Marco. Bye. And I was like, okay, cool. And then obviously what happened with Destiny was I was getting like, hey, like we're both open. Great. So we can go chat with other people. Great. And then Imani comes over and is like, hey, let's chat. And I'm like, great. And Destiny's like, no.
I know that might have been one of the funniest clips of the entire season of Imani walking away from you. It was like, I'm just going to slowly.
You guys don't even understand.
No, I can't imagine
it could move like that. She was walking away and she was like bumping it and bumping it and bumping it. And Destiny was like, and I was like a dummy. I was like, Destiny Imani. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, I gave the end respect to Destiny because I was in the couple with her, which is why I didn't get up and walk away. And because she had to say something. But the point of that whole thing was we had just talked previous in that day that we were going to be open. And I was like, we can keep talking throughout the day, but those are the chats I'm really supposed to be having with other people. Because if I don't pull those people for chats, I'm going to be indirectly closing myself off to you by not going and pursuing anyone else. And then, so we talked about that like that morning. And then right after our cheers,
agree with that?
Yeah. She was like, totally understand. Great. And then right after our cheers, she's like, I want to pull you for a chat. I'm like, okay.
She can do it, sure. But you can't.
Yeah, right. And so we go sit down and then we start talking about nothing. And then Imani comes. I was like, oh, sweet, perfect. Like, yeah, that's why she walked over and I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, we can go talk about this. And then the Destiny was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean, no? Like, this is what we talked about. And yeah, so I realized that the words and the actions were not aligning. And so I was like, I don't know what to do here. So I'm just not going to do that.
So Casa came at a really good time for you then.
Oh, Casa came in perfect because I went from Destiny to starting to develop something with Imani.
Yeah.
And Imani was telling me in all the conversations we were having that she was more interested in Keenan. And when she was telling me she was more interested in Keenan, I was like, great. Like, thanks for labeling number 2 right on my forehead. Like, that feels great. And so then I was like, since this is like, but we still got along. Like, we still were having a good time. Yeah. Everything was starting to go good. And then when Casa hit, I was like, we went upstairs to the girls' dressing room and girls were writing with lipstick like messages, or they were leaving. Like, one girl left like a lingerie suit and was like, if you're good, you get this in the hideaway, like, to one of the guys. And it was like, nice. It was just a bunch of stuff like that. And even Destiny, the girl I was technically coupled up with, she left a note for Mike. And was like, she was like, make smart decisions, baby, or XOXO or something like that. And then I was like,
I got no note.
And I got no note. I got nothing. I was left with myself. And I was like, okay, great. So then I was looking to see if Imani was going to leave me something. Because at the moment, I knew she was more interested in Keenan. And she was like, well, if Keenan would give me 100, I feel like Keenan and I would work out better than if you and I were doing it. And I was like, all right, cool, appreciate it. But Keenan wasn't giving that to her because, yeah, well, I was just in a bind because Keenan was giving the respect to KK and was like, I don't want to give you 100 because that's for KK. Like, I can give you 20. And so Imani was like, well, then she just went to Jonah. And I was like, great. But so Imani didn't leave anything for Keenan. She didn't leave anything for me. And so when Casa came and that one came, I was like, I'm single as a prank. Like, I'm excited. Casa's going to be fun.
So did she catch your eye immediately?
She was with a big group, and she was not in the front. So everyone caught my eye. I was just like, because I was in such a
my God.
I was in such an environment where I was just like, whoa. And like even hugging everyone, I was like, I'm not gonna remember you guys' names. Like, I'm sorry, you gotta give me a minute. And then shortly after, I was able to have a conversation with her, and then it was just from there, it just took off. Oh, I did the hand clap, Taylor.
Oh shit!
Sorry,
it's really
that's
rubbing
the thing
off on
she
you.
does. Yeah.
Inside jokes.
No, this is when she talks. She talked in the beach hut, and she goes like this when she tells Berger to give her a kiss, and then her sister does this too. And I just realized that I did it.
I feel like I'm always talking with my hands, always doing things with my hands. It's a problem a little bit, honestly.
I feel that. How weird was it walking in and knowing the boys and like their names and having to be like, yeah, you don't know us, but like we know everything about you.
I feel like at the beginning, like we all kind of had a conversation of being like, we're just gonna keep everything like close to our chest. Like we're not gonna like go out in there and be like, so this is my top 3, like you, and like this and that. Like we just kind of went in there and we were like, we're just gonna feel it out. Cause also it's like, yeah, you see, clips of them and you kind of like know who they are. But also it's so every single person was like in a certain way kind of different in person than they were on screen. And it's also so much about like you can say like, oh, I'm attracted to this person, or like this person is attractive to me, like personality, looks, whatever. But at the end of the day, for me and for most of the other like Casa girls, we all had kind of said, it's so big on vibe, like how we vibe like together in person, and like how that kind of like energy just like bounces off each other like in person. You can't really how can you make a decision on anybody until you're kind of like face to face with them, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Mm-hmm. So tell us like a little bit about your Casa experience together.
Yeah.
So tell us like, did you guys get super, super close? I mean, like, I thought you guys were going to tell us you're moving in together today.
It was so authentic to like watch though, and too, like no part of me was like, oh, they're faking this or like any of that. Like I was like, wow, they genuinely are interested in each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like especially going in and having it be just so overwhelming, like everything was just, it was taking everything in was crazy. Like it was like just being in the villa and then meeting all these guys and then trying to like talk to people and then also like, connecting just even with the girls. It was wild. And so I feel like one of the first things that like really stood out to me about Jonah is like when we were talking, like it just didn't feel like we were there. Like it was like we were all immediately kind of just like transported somewhere else. And like I didn't feel like I was like all the craziness and like all the noise and like all just the wild shit that was going on all the time of like us just being like, what the fuck is happening? Like that all kind of just like was settled, I feel like, when I was talking to him, which is what for me like really drew me to him and like also just like helped accelerate like a connection for us.
Oh, that's like so romantic. That's so really cute.
Perfect. I see like Jonah over here all happy, he's proud of himself. He's like,
yeah, I did that.
Okay. So when you came back in from Casa, how awkward was that recoupling?
It was so uncomfortable, like especially for us. Like we had all the girls had kind of said like this is gonna be weird. Like if any of us go back, it's going to be weird. Like we knew it was going to be weird. It's like these girls, and you also, how girls are just in life in general. And so it's like add that and like put it on steroids. And it was like, you knew that these girls were coming in and being like, what have you guys all been doing with our men kind of thing? And like, you didn't, and we knew kind of, I mean, I knew what Jonah had told me like about Imani and Destiny and stuff, but I obviously didn't know like how they felt, about things, or like if they were going to be salty about shit, or if they were not going to be like happy about seeing me sitting there. Like it was so uncomfortable. Like what, and they came in like a force. Like the first thing that came out of their mouths was like, we're coming back as a force. And I'm sitting there like, oh fuck, like this is gonna be awesome. Like can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was definitely like, and I wouldn't say like intimidating necessarily, but it was kind of just like, okay, here we go. Like now shit's about to get real.
Yeah.
Just a weird situation.
We also saw you get really close with Johnny and Casa. And then so you two really bonded, and then we got to kind of see that friendship throughout the villa as well, like even down to the last day when it was you two standing up there thinking it's one of us. Like you guys looked like you really bonded.
Yeah, no, we did. She was like one of the first people. I mean, all the Casa girls, like we were saying, even just day one, we were, kind of being like, it's wild that we've only known each other for a day, because we really did, like, every single one of us get along so well. Like, it just clicked instantly, and like all of us were like, oh my God, I love you, like after one day, and they were like, but we've only known each other a day. Like, it was just crazy. Like, especially again with girls, like that doesn't always happen, especially in like group settings where like everybody likes everybody. And everybody was super respectful of everyone as well. Like there was no weirdness. Like when we were all sitting in there, pretty much every single person, like, because I already knew that I was really interested in Jonah, and like pretty much every single girl in there was like, my top two are so and so and Jonah, so and so and Jonah, so and so and Jonah, and like it didn't even like make me feel not to boost your ego, but it didn't like really even make me feel a certain type of way, because I was like, like as you should, like go explore that, like go see if that, because like I was also like, I don't want to be like a default kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like if he has a better connection with one of these girls, like great, and I'll be happy for both him and for like the girls, because I just like we really connected. But yeah, with Johnny, we just like off the bat like just like gravitated toward each other, I feel like, and we just were like shooting the shit all the time, and just like she's so good at advice, and like I feel like I'm also like kind of like the friend that is always giving advice to my friends. So we were just like constantly kind of just going back and forth. Like when she was down in the dumps, like I was kind of pulling her up, and like vice versa. Like we just gravitated toward each other. She's fucking hilarious. Like she's the sweetest girl ever. And so we're little besties in there. I literally can't wait to see her when she gets out.
I know. Are you rooting for her now that she's with Scott? Have you caught up at all?
I honestly haven't watched it at all. I mean, I'm rooting for her to just find a connection with anybody. Yeah. And if that is with Scott, great. I don't think that like, especially after, we kind of merged back with the OG people. Like I didn't really think that Leo deserved her, to be honest. Like in Casa, I was like, oh yeah, like all for it. And then once Cassie came back in and all that shit started unfolding, like I, didn't really see that as a good option for her. And so I'm just happy if she finds something, you know what I mean? Like I hope she does. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know how her and Scott are together, but hopefully. I voted for them.
Did you guys meet Scott, or were you gone before he came in?
They were gone.
We got dumped, son.
Did you guys know? Out of there. Did you think you were gonna go home, Taylor, when you were standing there, or did you think it was gonna be Johnny?
It was, well, me and Johnny, like we were both looking at each other, and she was like, it's gonna be you, and I was like, no, it's gonna be you. Like we literally were just the whole like wait period, like while we were sitting there just kind of waiting, like we were just like literally, she was like, it's gonna be you, and I was like, no, it's gonna be you.
That's saved or dumped?
That was saved. She was, and she, we both were kind of like, I didn't know, because I just didn't know what like America had seen or not, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know like what had been shown. Knowing that like I had a really good genuine connection that was like continuously growing made me be like, think that it would be more me. But then also like with her, I knew that she had been involved in like so much shit, and like also I'm like, I admire how you've gotten through all of this. So it was just like a back and forth. Like I honestly had no idea which one of us it would be. And it was such a weird position, because again, she was my best friend in there. And so it was like, I wanted her to stay, but like, I wanted to stay. Like, I didn't want either of us to go. It was it was so like ironic. I was like, of course we're like the last two up here right now.
I know, I was feeling for you guys in that moment. I was like, wow, they're so bonded from this moment too. Like you guys like hugging, crying.
Yeah.
And then Jonah, for you, when you had heard that it was Taylor going home, was it a very quick, easy? You shot up.
I volunteered.
Keenan told me, he's like, you shot up so fast. I thought I heard it wrong, and they saved Taylor.
Wait, that's hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah, for me, I was asked prior if I would go if she went.
Yeah.
And in the earlier part of the day when I asked, I was like, I don't know. All I know is I don't want to do this if she's not here.
Yeah.
And then, because I hadn't thought about it. If you had told me that her and I were going home, I'd have been like, why? Like, because we're doing Love Island. Like,
I know. That's how I felt. I didn't want you guys to go. I'm still mad about it. I talked about it like yesterday on the podcast, and everyone was like, Elizabeth, get over it.
Well, listen, they're doing Love Island games. Just throw us back out there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
my bags are still packed, so it's perfect. I haven't even touched them yet. No.
Yeah, that whole thing was interesting. So I had talked prior in the day and didn't quite know, but I just knew if she wasn't there, I didn't want to do it. And then that made me start thinking about it more and more. And then we had a guys chat in the bedroom. It asked me again if that they're like, "Are you gonna go?" She goes, and I was like, "Yeah." Because I was like, I'm not gonna find another connection like I have with her in here. I was like, if I said anything else, I'd just be lying. I was like, that's not me. So then now that was set in my head, and at first I was like, I told her as we were walking to go over the fire pit, she was like, "Oh man, like I think like what if we go home?" I was like, "You're not going home."
No,
like,
you were literally talking. We were talking. He's like, "Oh, like tomorrow morning, like for breakfast, like what?" Like he was talking to me about breakfast the next morning, and I like looked at him. I was like, "Jonah, I'm like, there's a fucking dumping tonight. Like you don't know. Like we could be going home, but like the whole villa, I feel like thought it was gonna be like couples that was going, and so that was where like our thing. Like we were like, well, we're not gonna go. Like we're actually like there's no way."
Our mindset was that the vote was going to be least compatible couples, and so I was like, "Oh, we're good." And then I was like, "We're compatible. We work, I think." And so that's why my mind was like, "Oh, sweet." And then when it said individuals, or when Sarah had said individuals, I was like, "Well, that's interesting." Like, that's not what I was expecting. And then not only that, when I saw Taylor go up there, I was like, has she been talking shit about me and I haven't realized it? Or like, has something been said? Because I didn't get picked to go up there. And I was like, yo, what's America trying to tell me right now? And I was like, nah, there's no way she's going home. Like, screw that. And then it was like down to her and Johnny. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, for real?
Can't be real.
I was like, there's no way. Like, and because I thought when it came down to decision time, it was going to be Islander's choice. And if I knew I was
we're saving her. Yeah.
I was like, well, she's good. And I was literally mouthing that to her when she was up there. I was like, you're good. Like,
I saw that. And I was like, what are you doing?
He's like, I manifested.
Yeah. Don't even trip. Like, I'm saving your ass. Like, I don't like, we're good. Stop. And then it was just like, and the first person to go home is. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, this is not how I thought this was going to go at all. And then, and then when it came time and they said her, I was like, I looked at everyone. I was like, later, boys, I'm out. And I stood up. And I was like,
great to know you. See you later.
Should have gone out on
it's
the
been
note
real.
I wanted Jonah to go out on the note of, well, shit.
Shit. Anna thing. Us doing it doesn't suffice. Anna's the one that was hers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought
Anna
that was
started that
Jonah.
in the villa.
Oh, I didn't know.
But like everyone says it.
Yeah, everyone
says it now, but Anna started that. That was
okay.
She said something and she just said, well, shit.
Maybe it just works with your accent, and that's what I'm thinking.
I don't have an accent.
What's next for you guys, Smile?
Just keep doing. You're doing great.
So for us, I mean, we were so lucky to be in the same state, and a lot of the people that met on the island, it's like even like Harrison and Emily, it's gonna be hard for them because he's in Australia and she's over in Arizona. He's actually gonna be moving to Miami.
Oh,
so hopefully for them, they can try to figure that part out. But for us, being in the same state makes everything possible. So we won't know of exactly what the future is going to hold. But I just saw her before she left. She stayed with me in this house in Long Beach for a couple of days, and then she'll be back up again here on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll be having a good time down here in California.
Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And we can't wait to hear from everyone soon. And check out all our other interviews with other Exit Islanders. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.